Hello, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good.
Hello and welcome to the SC Balls Q&A podcast for NRL SuperCoach Round 20. We are here. We are at the Run Home. The Run Home Challenge starts tonight. Joining me to get stuck in for last minute prep for that and for the general Run Home, it's coach of the Casa Bonitas, former third place overall finisher, Danny Boy Ricks. Danny, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Coming off a good SuperCoach week, back into the top 1K.
Nice.
Very, very happy. It's the eve of the British Open on tomorrow morning. Looking forward to that. I'll be getting stuck into that over the weekend. How's it feeling at the soaring heights of sixth place at the moment? It's been about 10 years since I was up around there.
Feels busy. There's plenty going on. Been on about 17 podcasts this week.
You have been everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. The SuperCoach, official SuperCoach podcast.
Yep.
Getting naughty with the rub down boys. I'll tell you what, that was my favorite. Getting weird. That was my favorite podcast of them all. It was good, great fun. Fitted in well with those boys. And the first time I've actually listened to them, I'm a bit, but I've put them on the Spotify subscribe list, so they're popping up every time now. So yeah, great listening this week.
They're great fellas, and they love their stats as well. So it was a good
strength of schedule. Love it.
Yeah, and they go deep into some of those positional impacts of conceding and where teams like to score their tries. So a little bit in the same vein as what we do. So it was good to get on. Good fellas, Natty and Wook. So yeah, pleasure to be on with them. As you said, on the official SuperCoach podcast with Tom, and then obviously all our baller content this week. So yeah, as I said, Run Home Challenge starts tonight. Free to enter. Go to baller.live. Follow the links. You can't miss it. NRL Physio's done a big plug for us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X. If you follow SuperCoach, it's ridiculous if you don't enter. Just go do it. Free. Sign up as a baller and you're away. $7,000 worth of prizes. Dan, how are you feeling about the head of the Run Home?
Look, I've looked at people's teams for this week and there are so many strong teams out there. I have some pods and I want to play them this week, partly because I want to go up in the ranks, obviously, but I really want to get a good start at this Run Home Challenge as well. Like, I feel like if you go full template right now, particularly strong and, heavy around those second row forwards, front row forwards, I think you're missing a beat. I think you've got to go hard in the centre wings, pull a pod fullback out, hope for those, full-blown attack from round 20, get off to a good start and hopefully hold on back end of the season.
Yep. Well, we'll get stuck into all that tonight. There's plenty to discuss and plenty of great questions coming in. We have the watch-along tonight as well. We got me, Jono Tubes, firing up for Dolphins v Cows. Plenty of talking points in that game. Will Herbie, base plus power, over 100 tonight. How many tries is Jackson Purdue going to deny Scott Drinkwater? So all that cool stuff.
I heard you getting into me about Stillone and Jackson Purdue. Like,
did I?
What are they doing? Yeah, that was on the rub down. You just threw. But what are they doing, the Cows? Why is he still at 6? Like, I've got a little running thing with, I think it's the El Presidente of Ballr, who also owns Purdue, and we just blast him every time the Cowboys are on. Like, why is he at 6? I just can't wait till he gets back to centre. Hopefully he goes back there.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Clifford's not too far away back from injury. Anyway, let's get into the questions tonight, Danny Boy. And the first few, we're going to chat a bit about hooker because everyone's sort of starting to worry about their hookers now. How many do I need? Can I take AEs? That sort of thing. So first one comes from Scotty Kirkwood on Facebook. He says he's still got Riley and Sandon Smith at hooker. Should he trade Riley to Blake Brayley, Hines, or Edwards at flex? It's a pretty tricky this one, Dan, because Sandon looks like he's been punted into the sun by Robbo. He might come back, but you can't rely on it, and he's got some money tied up. Riley's got Talon to Silver on the bench now, so that's interesting too.
Yeah, I don't like both of those hookers. I think you're nearly better taking an AE this week than playing Riley Smith, I think. But it obviously depends on who you've got on the bench there. So In that scenario, I'm probably keeping Sandon Smith and trading Riley Smith up to someone. Now, Blake Brayley is the form hooker at the time. I am not as keen as everybody else. 660K. I know like there's a little bit about this role that he plays, but he is feeding Hines near the line on the right, where historically we watched the Sharks pretty close. He had been going to Trindle a lot in those attacking options. He's still got a couple of, I wouldn't say they're junk, junk police, Jono usually would say they're not junk, very easy try assists last week. Nico crashing over and got both try assists from hooker. So, I think Connor and Harry can't really go wrong there. And I don't really mind. I think you said it on the pod on Tuesday. You can still wait on Watson and just see how that plays out with the stacked forward pack at Roosters.
Yeah, look, you said there you'd rather take an AE than play Riley. That's only if you don't own Riley. If you do own Riley, if you're not making any trades, you should play Riley Smith. Don't take an AE
course.
if you don't have
to.
Yeah. Just wanted to clarify that. Jacob Tulun O'Brien on Facebook, he says, I still have Sandon and Hooker. Should he trade or run the AE this week? So that's in the very similar vein there, Dan. This is very team dependent on if you've got anyone on the pine who's going to be an AE problem for you. Because AEs can actually really work in your favour if your AE is someone like a Joe Tarpany or AFB.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a dream result if that's who you've got. I guess it's like if you've got a few options for that last spot as your 18th man, the likes of Kane Bradley, Jackson Purdue, Lycan King Tongia. There's a few there that can still go okay, but I guess you'd have to work it out and maybe look at the loop or your captain options. So you see a couple of those auto emergency scores first. I'm not sure if you can do that the way it works out, but you can maybe do that. So I don't see a problem with it this week.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's okay as well, giving your AE score is a chance of dropping out. Like you said, the later the better, so you can see scores. But it's. I'd probably still bite the bullet and get a hooker in. I don't know. It's a really team dependent one there, and we just don't have the information. But yeah, I love AEs. I run them whenever I can, if bad AEs permitting. Aaron Hickman asked Dan, he says, what do I do with Damien Cook? Thought he was a pod, now I'm unsure. Rank 3,331, 6 trades left. Cookie, we kind of mentioned at the time that Cookie was always going to potentially run up a cul-de-sac for owners. It certainly looks like it's played out that way. What do we do with Cookie? Do you just hold on and hope that maybe you can turn it around?
Yeah, I think you've just got to hold on now. Maybe give him a little bit more, maybe a couple of weeks. His break even's at 95, so he's going to bleed a little bit of cash. 520K, so it's not hard to get up to the likes of Harry Grant and Connor Watson. A little bit harder to get up to Brayley. I'm similar. I'm running at the moment only Tom Starling. So they've got a good run the next few, and I'm just hoping he's going to be a bit of a pot option against those guys. So I'd probably hold on for a couple more weeks and then maybe bite the bullet later.
Yeah, I mean, Cookie's still got a 3-round base plus power average of 5-round base plus power average of 43. So it's not a disaster. That's you're sort of 10 points below your top tier levels. Blake Brayley, Dan, just on him, he's got a 5-round base plus power of 57. So it's not only the attack he started to get, he's really lifted his base power game as well. And that's well clear of all the other hookers at the moment. That's Connor Watson territory, and we know that Connor Watson is a base plus power monster. So, I'm a bit worried about Cookie, but I just think with 6 trades in the bank, I think you've just got to hope for a good outcome there with Cookie and probably go for, you're going up from a Cookie who might average sort of in the 50 range maybe, and you're going up to a Blake Brayley or a Connor Watson who you're probably only going to average 10 to 15 points more. So with that trade, is that enough? Are you getting enough out of that trade to make it worthwhile? I'm not sure you can see there. I think you just got to hope for a good outcome with Cookie. Dan Hughesy SPL on Husey FPL on X asks, Gagai and Fermor as pods, Lucas and Pappy out, possibly Billy Smith to Cleary pending Friday. That's a question. That'll be for next week. Gagai and Fermor, Dan, I love both of them this week.
Yeah, I've definitely considered Fermor this week. I think that, with Lucas going down, he just slots in really nicely there to keep that flexibility between second row and centre wing. Gagai, ultra pod, great role, 100 plus points on the weekend with 1 try assist. He's got that base plus power in him. I like him. I don't have a spot for him, probably similar to you in the centre wing. But yeah, 2 good moves, I think, this week. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, both Fermor, 65.2 5-round base plus power average, priced at 613. So you're already getting value just in base plus power on his price there. They've got some friendly fixtures, including this week against the Tigers. We know he's got the upside. Does he have a consistent ceiling to do it all the time? Probably not, but he could get hot. I really like the trade, especially with Lucas. If you want some flexibility, you can flip him up to 2RF or to centre. That's all fine. So, I like Fermor and I love Gags. So, he, like you said, if he does pick up the goal kicking as well, like Hastings got injured or something, he's got a ball projection up in the high 70s or the mid 70s. So, yeah, I love Gagai. I think they're both good. I think they're both good options.
What I'd say for that as well is just look at who you then have to take out of your team in your 17 and 18. So that's the reason I'm not getting either of them. I think they're both great options.
Good call.
But if you're then sitting someone who has a potential really high ceiling as well, plus, like we saw last week, Dylan Lucas going down, another 1 or 2 injuries this week, and you're having to trade out those 2 next week. So trades are just going to be so crucial. So if you can run a strong 18 and not have to trade this week, I think it's a real viable option.
Yeah, when trades running low now, you're going to have to make some of those calls. We'll get to that when we talk about my trades a little bit later, Dan. But it's a really good point because if you don't have to have a sit start headache, you shouldn't trade for it. It's only if you think it's a really big move that you want to make. Like I would probably put like Brian To'o in that basket that you might bring in to give yourself a sit start headache because he's got the upside. He's obviously carrying an injury, but like Feno made a really good point on the pod. Like I want to get ahead of the crowd, get him in for a ton this week, and then you might be able to sit someone like a Garrick or a Marky Mark or someone like that. When we get to the sit starts, we can talk through those guys. But that's probably the only scenario where I'd trade to give myself a sit start issue. Rod McGrath, Facebook. G'day, mate. Crichton or Hudson Young for the run home. Very, very popular common problem this week that people are looking at. He's ranked 758th, so flying Rod, and he's got 6 trades left. So a pretty common theme, Dan. A lot of people with low trades asking questions this week. Where do you sit on the Crichton Hudson Young? We got a lot of feedback from the red flag, the Hudson Young red flags social post yesterday. So it's an interesting one. Yeah,
we love a bit of hot rod. He's probably Ball's biggest fan from the beginning. And doing really 100. Well. He's jumped up several spots, top 1K, doing very well. I'm in a very similar boat. I've only got 6 trades left before trades this week. So I'm with you there, and I'm very reluctant to push hard, although I don't really want to just, sit on my laurels. I love Hudson Young. I'm fully keen. The injuries, the risk you described with the red flags, yeah, but for yourself at 6th place at the moment, probably miss him or wait and see. But for someone like Rod, I think if you want to keep pushing, mate, if you want those green arrows to keep ticking along, bring in Podson. Crichton will be safe, but they've got a very tough run. Still going to base plus power around 60, I reckon, but maybe limited attack like we've seen earlier in the year.
Yeah. Crichton just doesn't quite look the part, but that doesn't mean that he won't turn it around. But he definitely hasn't got the bumper bars up, busting through tackles like he did in 2024. So he's a little bit. I'm not bringing in either of these guys this week. Like I said, I'm not. I'm going to hold Lucas and then maybe have a look next week. I love the move. Are you bringing in Hudson? We'll get to trades in a little bit, but I like Hudson, like I mentioned on the Tuesday pod. There are red flags. I've had a bit of a think. I'm not as concerned about the round 24 bye now. I own Tarpany and Starling though, so that comes into it a little bit for round 24 bye for me. I think if you're lighter on Raiders, then that's not an issue because should have squad depth to cover him that week. I still think he'll get a rest. There are scenarios though where the inflammation of the osteitis pubis, Dan, and you'll be able to talk much better than me to this. That may settle down. That may settle down, and he might have no issues at all for the run home. And Hudson might just tell Ricky, "Nah, stuff you, Rick. I'm playing. Just try and take me off."
I did like you on the rubdown. You trying to describe the old cellulitis that Cam McInnes has. Yeah. You said cellulitis. I was just sitting there going, mate, you've had a long week on the pods. But, yeah, look, it's...
That was just the start of it.
Yeah. You can be carrying that all the way through the season and be playing with it. It slightly hampers you. It does flare up from time to time. Does 1 week's rest give you much? Maybe not. We saw it with, at its worst, Cameron Munster. The last couple of years, he was really affected by it. He would try to come back, after a few weeks and then be out for a while as well. So, look, I think, and he's only played limited minutes on the backup against West Tigers 2 days post-Origin 2. That's the only time he's played sub 76 minutes. So I'm not that worried about it. I think there's enough concern for people up the top to be a little bit wary, like yourself, and probably having a very strong team around it anyway. But I love it as a pod flyer. Like you said about Brian To'o, get ahead of the pack, get him in, really good fixtures the next few. Round 24 bye doesn't concern me at all. I think he's a great pickup this week.
Yeah, the fixtures are very worrying as a non-owner. All right, Dan, let's get down now to Gaz on X here. Pappy out, Young, kick out, Clark or Ola. Who do you like out of that lot for Gaz?
Let's have a look. Ooh, Young.
Can't be Ola. Can't be Ola. Not yet.
Ola's not playing this week.
I
like Young. Clark still scares me a little bit, particularly if he just goes on a run of getting that 65 plus minutes. Really just getting it done, getting attack on the weekend. I think he's in for 70 most weeks, so very rock solid. I would probably go Clark.
Just on Clark, Dan. 67 3-round and 5-round base plus power average. So even though his minutes have fluctuated a bit, his base power has just remained very consistent, and that's up on his season average too. So yeah, I love Aaron Clark, but yeah, I can't get him.
Yeah, Kickout, I said it a few weeks back. I didn't believe that he was going to sustain that base plus power that he's going on. Obviously, he had a down week last week. That's only a one-off. He could go straight back up. I've heard some rumours he was a bit sick as well, or he might still be a bit sick. He might be a late withdrawal this week. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
So I would not go near Kickout at the moment. I wouldn't be selling, so to speak, because I think he's still a great player on matchups. So for me, I'd probably go Pods and Young first, Clark second, and then the other two not looking at this week.
Jamie Finch, Dan, best gun this week. So there's a lot of questions because everyone's obviously got Dylan Lucas to trade and via his duels and the flex and Pappy. So a couple of big guns. So there's everyone's looking at the biggest gun they can possibly bring in this week. Jamie's asking the best out of these lot: Edwards, Lomax, Hudson, or Nickera. So some of the biggest artillery here.
I think Lomax is not going to be pod. Is that right? He's not looking for a pod. Best gun,
No,
sorry.
he's not a pod. Best gun, yeah.
Yeah. I like Nickera. I think he's a little bit spenny at 660k, but I think he's in for a really good matchup over the next few. I'm carrying a fair few Sharks, so that concerns me to carry more because they've got the buy in round 25 as well, and then a couple of tough ones after that. I like Hudson for the pod. Edwards concerns me a little bit. Might not get the goal kicking when Cleary's back. I really want Cleary as that dominant ball player in the Panthers. So Hudson or Lomax for me.
Yep. I think Lomax is essential. So I think he's the standout. The only thing I will say, Edwards there, I do like Edwards this week. Even though he won't have the goal kicking, it looks like it'll be him or Alamotti. But I like it when Edwards has the sort of the keys to the car when Cleary doesn't play as well. So you get that this week. They've just got 4 amazing games in a row. And as someone who's not going to own Edwards this week, I'm really scared that he could go off in this next month. So it comes down a bit. It comes down to a bit, Dan. I think with this, when you're looking at a Edwards or a Lomax type or Hudson Young, how are you positioned in the 2 halfbacks, 2 fullbacks, and flex? Because I've been saying it all week, but I think you really need 5 massively heavy hitters there every week. Like you can't be exposed to having someone a bit sort of with lower upside in the flex and those other positions.
The issue is as well, if you're running currently Hines and Hughes, and then you want to get Edwards as the 3rd fullback, Cleary's back next week. I think he's essential next week. Like, you've got to trade a gun for a gun. And I think Hughes is still going to go really well. I'm kind of in your boat where running 3 halfbacks is probably for me. And I just think Edwards is maybe not going to match the likes of those 3 halfbacks when he loses the kicking and when Cleary's back.
And I'm eyeing off Hughes to trail in round 23. That's kind of my loose plan at the moment. So I bought Cleary last week, albeit didn't really want to. I wanted Jaden Campbell, but that's another story. So I think Edwards is a perfectly good bringing in the flex, but you do have to have a bit of foresight as to what you want that structure to look like. Cameron on X, Dan, he's ranked 180. Well done, Cameron. Excellent. His thoughts on these 2 trades for the run home. He's going Lucas and Paps, so getting out the big guns for Hudson and Hammer. So we've talked enough about Hudson, Dan, I think. Hammer so Tabuai-Fidow is a bit of a pod at fullback. That's a real big swing from Cameron there, if that's what he's looking at.
Absolutely huge swing. So base plus power average of 40, I think, for Hammer. Probably the most reliant fullback in the competition on attack. And in saying that, he's probably a top 3 for attacking, fullbacks. So huge flyer, huge pod. I'm a little bit concerned about Dolphins middles, though. I don't know if they can sustain the run. And I'm not sure they're going to be scoring as many points as they were scoring through the middle of the year.
I think it depends a bit on Cameron's ambition here. If he's shooting for the stars for a top 50, I don't mind it. Like, it's a real flyer. Hammer's just got a very low floor. This could also drop him out of the top 1,000. That's probably the way I'd probably look at it if I was Cameron. If I wanted to play it safer and try and finish as high as possible, I definitely wouldn't make this move. So I think that just really comes down to what his goal is there. Outside Doctor on X snuck a late question through just before record, Dan. He's asking thoughts on an Edwards and Toto trading for Pappy and Lucas. Thinking of captaining Edwards this week. We'll leave him with Hughes to Cleary next week. Not a great run for the Storm after this week. This is a good question, and we touched on a little bit of that Hughes stuff earlier. I like this because it does give you optionality with Cleary. Like, you can either get him straight in next week or you could wait a week, see how Hughes goes this week. You can still, it's an extra trade, I would say. So you might be a bit heavier this week, especially if you want to captain Edwards. So I think that's good. I like the logic here from outside Doctor.
Yeah, it all sounds very reasonable. I'm not sure if I like the Hughes to Cleary next week, though. Even if he doesn't think that Storm have a great run, I still think Hughes is a top tier and can match. Yeah, so they still leak a few points there. Like, I don't mind those 2, and particularly because there's the captain option this week. Love the Edwards captain. If I was bringing him in, I definitely would captain him this week against the Bunnies. They have been so leaky for SuperCoach points this year.
Yep. Centre wing, some centre wing questions now, Dan. We didn't touch on Toto there for outside Doctor. I'm not bringing Toto in, but I can see the appeal. Just on that injury, Dan, like, it does feel it's risky. So it's another risk appetite thing for Toto in terms of bringing him in.
Yeah, I think it's his lateral ligament, and I believe it was strapped up on the left leg, so it's his outside leg. And it did, Jono said he looked probably in Origin, and I did watch back a little bit of it, and he definitely did. He was a little bit hesitant to kind of cut back in hard off the inside, but that won't stop him scoring those overload tries. So he also was generating so much, base coming through, tackle bust, offloads. He's definitely in those top 5 or 6 centre wings for the year. And the dream run that Panthers have for the next 4, huge option and good to get on him this week.
Gary Holtgren on X asks, is Karapani to Gagai or Toto sideways? I spoke about Karapani a fair bit this week. I think Karapani's a hold for the next couple of weeks. In saying that, Dan, I think if you are upgrading to a more premium guy like Toto or Gagai, and that's sort of what you want to do for the run home, I don't mind it. I just think that, if I look at the forward a week to the projections, Karapani's going to still be projected in the low 60s against the Eels and Rabbitohs in the next 2. I think that is an upgrade. It's just, again, kind of the cookie question. Is that an upgrade that you need to make at this stage, or are you better holding that trade for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's definitely not sideways. It's probably a business class upgrade. It's not quite first class, but you're certainly getting a good meal with Gagai and To'o. So I don't mind it. It's team structure dependent, how many other gun center wings that you've got. If you've got the likes of some other sub 600K, we wouldn't say deadwood, but maybe just not those top tier center wings, it's an absolutely fine trade to do. I'm very happy to hold Karapani, and I'm going to be playing him in the next couple of rounds when he's back after the bye this week.
Brett Sims, a good friend of the show, asks, do I get Herbie at 900k or is it too late? I am afraid, Brett, that it is far, far too late for Herbie at this point in time, especially with the bye next week.
Yeah, it was funny. I brought up in the WhatsApp group today, I said maybe a Herbie is a sell next week on the bye at 900k. And I just got pummeled. Like, everyone was laying the boot into me. You brought up stats that Herbie's basically top 3 in base plus power of any player this year, or over the last 5 rounds. Obviously scoring a lot of tries. Yeah, maybe I came to my senses a little bit. Really tough to bring him in at 900k though. I think they've got the bye next week. They've got Warriors away after that. You could probably look to bring him in maybe at a bit of a discount after that. So it'll be really hard watch if you don't own Herbie this week against the Cowboys, though.
Yep. I feel for everyone who doesn't own Herbie. That just must be max pain every time he runs out. All right, Dan, let's get on to this week's sit v start questions, because this is a really hot topic. We've got deep squads now. Everyone is like, oh my God, I've got to leave like one of my best players out. It also impacts VC, because when you VC loop, you've got to drop a gun, so you've got to sit another gun. So it's really hard. So there's been some good questions on sits v starts this week. I do need to direct everyone to baller.live for the projections. That's the easiest way to determine your sit starts. We've got some awesome stuff coming, whether it's this year or next year, around distributions as well, around ceilings and floors. And percentage to get 50 and percentage to get 100, and so it's gonna be sick. I cannot wait. But for now, go and check out baller.live, check the projections, and if you're splitting hairs, that's the best way to do it. And if you've got any questions about the projections, hit us up on socials. Peking Huck asks, who to play as last reserve, Nickera, Tarpany, or Marky Mark? On the projections, Nickera, Dan, 67, Tarpany, 64 in 50 minutes, and Mark, 66, so super close.
Jeez, throw a blanket over that. Yeah, if gut feel there, I'd probably say Nickera this week. Maybe there's a bit of bias of Sharkies coming through there, but I just think they're going to be running at Sam Walker. I think that is great. We saw it with Jaden Sewer last week. He is a huge target for attacking teams, Sam Walker on the left edge for the Roosters. So if I was Nico, I'd just be feeding Nickera to run straight at Sammy Walker this week.
Yep. I would go Nickera there too. I'm playing Taps only because I have to, and they got a great matchup, so we'll see. Marky's very interesting, Dan. I would never, ever feel comfortable sitting Marky just with his upside. But I think some hard calls are going to have to be made, and we know that his floor's not as high as some of these other guys. I like Nicker as upside this week too, so I'd go with him.
That was probably my biggest win of the season last week. Marky Mark only getting 30. Like, everyone has him. He looks so good against the Tigers. Do you think that's... I was just going to ask a question around that. Do you think that's worse than what his floor is going to be in the back end of season? Like, is that as bad as it gets? Or do you think
so.
he's... Yeah.
I think so. I think we saw his floor on the weekend. So, yeah. Jason Yangdan, pick 4 reserves. So he's listed 6 players here. So we've got to pick 4 out of 6 here. 4 out of 5. Jeez. Crichton, Kickout, Garrick, Hughes, Drinky. So I think we can scrub Hughes and Drinky down. Their plays every week, no matter what. You always play them.
Instead of picking 4, can we just drop one?
Yeah, let's just drop one. Let's just drop one. So I'm gonna keep Gus in at 68 projection. I don't think you ever really sit Gus either, like not unless you're completely stacked. I'm going to go down either Kickout or Garrick for the drop here, both projected 62. What do you think out of those two?
Yeah, very tough. I've used Baller this week for the projections. It's so good. Although I don't agree with the Talakai one this week. I think he's in for a Mozart running at Chad Townsend, friend of the Baller show. But I would go Kickout. I think Garrick can still hurt you much more than Kickout. Even with 1 or 2 tries, attacking stats, Kickout very rarely goes 120 plus, where I think with a couple of tries, Garrick has that high ceiling. So it's probably Kickout for me in that scenario.
I'd be leaning Kickout just purely on the rumour that he might be a bit crook. I was going to have to potentially sit Garrick, but now that Cleary's not playing, that's easy for me, so I'm playing him. But yeah, I don't mind the Garrick sit in general, just against the Storm. I know he can hurt you, but you can't be scared in SuperCoach. Can't be scared. So, like, Melbourne is a tough matchup. He is running at bloody Kane Bradley. Oh, no, is he Kane Bradley? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So that edge does, that's where Melbourne do concede a lot of their points.
Yep.
So,
and I saw
Sharks. Scary.
Sharks played them the week before, and Talakai bombed 2 tries for Ronaldo out on that wing as well.
Yeah, that's right.
It is a juicy place to score against Melbourne. It's just whether they're just absolutely gone Manly this week at Amy Park, but I think he's still in for some attack.
Storm are so good at home. Like, they've won like 30 out of 31 or something. That's completely wrong, but don't quote me on that. But they've only lost 1 or 2 games in the last few years at home, and I was actually Dragons beat them last year there somehow, but yeah, I'm just a little bit cautious on Garrick this week, but we shall see. Gaz says, which 2 to bench out of Hoskin, AFB, Tarpany, Mark, and Gus? So a lot of similar guys here, Dan. I'm going to start here with Hoskin 60. He's got a juicy matchup for the Eels. Maybe he's a bit of a minutes risk as well this week.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Benching Hoskin out of that. That's. I think Hoskin is the perfect guy to sell this week to go to an absolute gun. So I guess if Lucas, the reason why more people aren't selling Hoskin is because Lucas has gone down, and that's just the easiest trade. But I wouldn't be playing Hoskin out of all those guys. And then there's the next one. Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, I'll go. So on the projections, we've got AFB projected 69 in 60 minutes still. So we're expecting a bit of a bounce back still from AFB. Tups, 64. Mark, 66. Gus, 68. Throw a blanket. I'd probably still lean Tarpany just with a risk over the minutes there, Dan. Tarpany v Marky. That's a tough one. I think Tarpany just because I think I'd be more worried about Mark hurting me. All right. Captains and trades, Dan. We got a question from Teddy on X, who is a fellow Tarpany owner. He's asking if I'm going to captain Teddy, pod play for the top 3. I shan't be captaining Taps, Ted.
Wait. Who? Teddy captaining Tarpany? Or Tarpany captaining Teddy?
Teddy is asking the question, not Teddy the player. Teddy's asking if I'm captain, which is ironic because Teddy is obviously a popular captain this week. Teddy, am I captaining Tarpany? No. And he's this is a wind-up question, but it's a good way to leak us into our captains. for the week. I'm just hoping Tarpany can do something. He's starting on the front. He's starting on field for me today. I might send him out as just like the spiritual captain, but not my actual captain. So, yep. Captains, Dan. I am no idea what I'm doing for captain this week. Like, I've got today to decide if I'm going to do Herbie, vice captain. He's 50% vice captain in the top 10%. Vice captain is really going to be really tricky this week because if you do have an issue with AEs and you've got to drop a gun, it's just going to become a little bit less viable, and that threshold for looping is going to be higher, probably up closer to 120, I would have thought now. So at this stage, I'll be VCing Herbie C Nico. I like the Nico pod play. I like going against Teddy this week. He's going to be still captained by the masses. On the baller projections, we've only got Teddy in at a 75 or 76, I believe. I'll just check that now. Fullbacks. James Tedesco 76 projected, so that's well down on his season average. Toughish matchup for Sharks. It's probably the safe play, Dan, but I'm feeling a bit of an anti-pod captaincy play on Teddy this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about your Hines call. Like, obviously, riding the wave from a big vice VC loop last week on Hines. I think Roosters are a bit of a different matchup. They really turned up against Sharks last time. But if we see a bit of Nico Ball, yeah, he's in for a decent score. I'm looking at my ranks at 810, so I'm very keen on going all out and trying to pod up at the captaincies at the moment. So I'm looking at Drinkwater VC, not going Teddy, anti-podding against Teddy. I need to have the VC in the first game because my players that I want to drop are in the second game. So I'll be dropping either Tupu or Talakai for that second game because the rest of my team is very strong. And I'll probably be looking for pod captain. I'm really keen actually on Lomax this week. I think he's got a good matchup. Raiders are heavy favourites, but I just think they're going to go right. They're going to look for him all the time. His base work is so good. He's a definite option. I think baller projections have him around the same as Teddy as well.
75.
Yeah.
75, yeah.
So look, if I go really pod, I'll go Lomax captain. And then the next other option I'll decide on Saturday is Carraz. So I'm looking at Carraz on the wing against the Dragons. Absolutely fill up Crichton back inside him. I think he's due. He looks like his fitness is okay, even though he's had a couple of lowly weeks in the scores. So Carraz or Lomax for me and just go hard.
What about Terrell May as a captain option, Dan? He has the highest baller projection this week at 87. Is he a minute? That's in 70 minutes, so we've nudged his expected minutes down a little bit. I thought for some reason they had a 4-forward bench, but they don't. They're carrying Tristan Hope as a hooker on the bench, and then they got Jack Bird as well, who obviously won't eat up any middle minutes. I suppose the real question around that Tigers pack now, Dan, is how many minutes is Dewey going to play at lock? Is that going to be an 80-minute role for Dewey? Because that could spell a couple of issues for May's minutes.
Yeah, who knows? I'd love to get a look at it this week. I'm not going to touch May. And also, you watch highlights of games. You don't watch the tackles. You don't watch the hit-ups. The offloads look flashy sometimes, but it's just not a good watch as much as some of those, outside backs, fullbacks, wingers. Like, you want to enjoy your SuperCoach. I just feel like it's probably not the option you want to do this week.
Yeah, I'm also going to have a bit of a think about my Nick Meaney pod as a sneaky.
I like Meaney more than I like Hines.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think it's a fill up at home against Manly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to think about a lot of thought. That could be the move that gets me up catching this bloke at the top. He has got an unbelievable team. But I'm just gonna plow away, do my best, Danny, and hope. Does he
have Oren Keeley?
He does. Come on, no one's got Oren Keeley except me. He's my key. He's the key to unlock it. In saying that, Keeley, could he get an 80-minute roll now because they've finished?
Oh, come on, stop it.
Let's go.
Stop
I
it.
cannot wait. If you want more information on Oren Keeley, make sure you tune into the watch along tonight. It's going to be fun.
Oh,
all right, Dan, trades to wrap us up. What are you thinking?
Yep. Probably a guy that's been on everyone's radar. I've wanted him for weeks now. Really excited to bring him into my team. One trade only for me this week. It's at hooker. It'll be Sandon Smith for Kalani going. Big enough.
The big one.
The big enough. I'm ready. It's time. Gonna make some moves at hooker over the next few weeks. Probably get Watson, but just see how that plays out. Liking Tommy Starling for the next few weeks. And going will be a very nice one to throw between the second row and hooker. So just one for me this week. And I'm actually targeting Cleary and Isaiah Yeo next week as my two final trades. Leaves me with 3, which isn't much, for injuries for the run home.
Yep, nice. I like it. My one trade as well this week, Dan. More than likely, unless something dramatically changes, I'll be going liking King Togia. Well done, sir. You've helped me out a little bit, but not a lot. He's on the way out for Jaden Campbell. So that's a pretty easy trade for me this week.
About time.
It is about time. I've got 517k in the bank, so that's an easy upgrade. I think that'll still leave me 300 and something k in the bank. That will leave me with 20 players this week. I'll be sitting Tommy Starling and Oren Keeley. Sorry, Oren, just can't quite crack it. And that leaves me with 18 good players. So I'm feeling good about that. And yeah, we'll see how we go. But Dan, thank you very much. What?
Just gonna say, just just gonna say, Tubes being the run home specialist.
Yes.
What are you anticipating Tubes' move at captain this week? I would say JC would be right up there as a captain option for Tubes.
Yeah, I mean, if you are that's how you can get a flyer in the run home challenge. One of these pod captains with a great matchup. JC. I mean, he captained JC against the Bulldogs at Belmore earlier in the year, so you'd have to hope he's captained him against the Tigers.
Yeah. So shout out to Tubes too. He's got about 5 Broncos. He basically got the whole left-hand side. So
he hasn't
Broncos
set himself up well.
No, it's probably going to be a tough week. So hopefully JC gets him right up there for the run home challenge.
Yep. All right, Dan, that's been a cracking show. Everyone get in, join the run home challenge. I think it's still only like 1,500 people in there, so odds of winning are so good. And we got baller merch packs to give away as well. It's going to be so much fun. Can't wait. Pump for the watch along tonight, Dan. Are you going to drop in?
Oh, I might. Maybe second half. Drop around. Maybe if there's some injuries, I'll be at work, so I'll have the skeletons up behind me doing a few things with that. So yeah.
Yep.
See how it goes.
Yeah, cool. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day and good luck for the Open and good luck for your SuperCoach team this week.
You're guilty.